Alright, so next part on saying no to your dog. Got a nice comment from Jennifer the other day, and this is why I like you commenting on this, because it gives us more opportunity to explore this stuff. Alright, so it says, not sure if saying no is the answer, more so to teach them what you want them to do. Sorry, not saying no is the answer, alright. More so teaching them what to do. So that's bang on, alright. If your dog was about to chew an electrical cable or eat something dangerous, then no would be appropriate, and the consequence would be that the dog would be removed and the item also. So that's right, in as much, as far as I'm concerned, other than us using the word no, okay. And me saying, when I'm saying to you not using no and not telling your dog no, there's stuff that we do need to interrupt. Absolutely, your dog is going to make poor decisions. Okay, they're going to make decisions which are dangerous, unsafe, dangerous to the dog, dangerous to other people or to another dog. Okay, and we do need a way to interrupt that. Okay, but for me, and it's because of the human history with saying no. That is so important that we don't say no, which I'll cover in a second, okay? No doesn't always mean a threat or punishment or pain or fear, but I get where you're coming from. You could use the word or phrase with less negative connotations, but no makes sense to people. Some owners actually get quite worked up about being 100% positive, especially with puppies, i.e. what should you do when the puppy's doing something completely inappropriate? No is okay sometimes, but needs to be paired with showing the dog what they need to do instead. Right, there's nothing objectionable that I don't find anything about. There's nothing that I don't find objectionable to that statement in and of itself, other than the use of the word no. So we can remove that word no and put something else, so clapping our hands, and then pair that with redirecting the dog onto something else. Okay, and it's because of our history, the human history with the word no. Okay, so the way behaviour works is, if you do something which has worked for you in the past and it is no longer working, okay, the rules or the laws of behaviour state that you will do that same behaviour with more intensity, more frequency, more duration. Okay, so think about it when a lift comes, so that you press the button for the lift or the elevator and it doesn't come, and you now start stabbing that button. Okay, so that frustration builds in. Okay, so if you're used to saying no, and I have seen this over and over and over again so many times with dogs and with children, if I say no and you don't do it, I'll say no more often, with more threat, with more urgency, with more intensity. So it now becomes no, okay, if you don't do it. Now that increased intensity then works. So what the human learns from that is, I can forego the nice no's and jump straight in, okay? And this is deep learning in your brain. So a lot of the time in the moment, in the heat of the moment, when emotions are taking over and something is dangerous, if you are practiced at saying no, and that saying no with more aggression and with more intensity, okay, has worked, that's what you'll do, okay? And now we're starting to add that negative connotation in with what's going on. Okay, so the example that I've used again and again with Logan, with that, are you ready, and pairing that with the toy. Okay, are you ready? Toy. Are you ready? Toy. So we've been out here, just put Logan back in the car, and we've been out here, and you can see, so we've got some sledgers, people down using the hill for sledding. We've had there's people and other dogs around. So he looks at the dog, and rather than me saying no, I call him back in. Okay, so that there, substituting the word no with a "are you ready" cue, or this way, okay, and training it well beforehand, so that you can rely on it when you need to. This way, pup, let's go. Okay. And proofing that and working that well means that we don't have to say no, okay? And again, it's because of our history with the word no, how powerful it is for us in human culture. No, stop that. And tell me when, think about this, tell me when no means that the sanction is not unpleasant if you don't heed to the word no in our history growing up, okay? Your parents tell you no and you do it, okay? What's the sanction there? A police officer tells you to slow down and you don't do it, tells you no, stop driving like that. It's now a penalty. The law says that, your boss says that, don't do that, there is a penalty. So this is the history that we have with the word no, and this is why I'm so enthusiastic, I suppose, or evangelical about not saying no to your dog. And it's because of what it means to the human, not because what it means to the dog. And when the comment there about some owners, when we're teaching them, get quite upset about the constant positive, okay, that's our job as trainers to teach them this and teach them alternatives, because we realise that they will say no in the heat of the moment with more frequency, with more urgency, okay, with more negative emotion and more negative consequences for that dog, okay. So the puppy then gets grabbed, then gets pulled away, okay. Now, going back to the puppy example, the puppy's chewing the electrical cable, we let that happen. Puppy's a puppy, and I'm going to ask, why is the puppy not supervised, and why is that electrical cable available to that puppy, so that the pup is not making the mistake. We put the pup in a position that they were going to do a puppy behaviour, okay, and we now increased the sanction, okay, put a negative sanction on them, okay. Now, the other thing lastly on that is that if we now, because we've not planned properly and brought that dog into an environment where they're not able to handle, and it is dangerous for them, when we now say nope and move towards that dog and move a dog away, what are we teaching? What else are we teaching the dog? We're teaching the dog that I'm going to move towards you with aggression, okay, or with some sort of oppressive behaviour. Move away from that, rather than calling them towards me, okay, calling them away. And I saw an example of that, and I really, and this is where even when positive training goes wrong, which is why we need to get it right, and we need to understand the underlying behavioural principles of this. I was working with a dog off the lead during the week, okay. The women were doing some recalling the dog, and the dog is skittish around getting the dog back on the lead, okay. And because the client jumped the gun a little bit, okay, and I said to them, I need you to concentrate on what I'm asking you to do. They put the treats down at her feet. The dog came in, and as the dog came in, even before the dog went to eat those treats, the woman lunged and grabbed for the dog, and now the dog wouldn't come back in, okay. And it's because the timing of that was wrong. So even with the treats there, that lunging and the moving towards the dog was a negative enough consequence for that dog. The dog's like, I'm not coming back in, okay. That's scary or spooky or unpleasant, okay. So with really good planning, really good education, okay, and good training, we can get away from all these things. And it's only through, for as far as I'm concerned, putting information like this out, practicing it, preaching it to others, teaching it to others, showing others that it works, that we will need we have a shift in culture, so that we're not having, 5 or 10 years time, that the need for me to put out a video like this, because I did a series on this about 4 years ago. Again, the need for me to do this has diminished, or fingers crossed, completely eliminated, because people, they understand how behaviour is constructed. Okay, so thanks again to Jennifer for making that comment. It was a really useful comment to make. Yeah, and I'll catch you in the next one.